Alright guys, what's going on? We're back. We're in Procession, deck construction, analysis, whatever I feel like calling it in this video. Anyway, this deck is a token destruction, sacrifice, black-white, just awesome. Pure awesomeness. I think I mentioned that it was going to be underpowered in the deck previews, but in all honesty, I love this deck. It is a ton of fun to play. So anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at it. Start off with 4 Terramorphic Expanses like most of the 2-color deck, as much as I wish it was something else that had a land come into play normally, because the only time you can want to play Terramorphic Expanse is turn 1, unless you don't have a turn 2 or turn 3 drop. But anyway, 4 Doom Travelers. Doom Traveler's awesome. It lets you sacrifice it to cards that are later in the deck. You're okay with it dying, and it just comes back and blocks. You know, it does its job very well. Edge of Divinity is holy and unholy strength at the same time. You can't really beat that for 1 mana. +3/+3 permanent. It's like giant growth just on crack. But anyway, next card in the 1 mana cost. Reanimate. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. You lose life equal to its converted mana cost. Amazing. Amazing. Just the ability to bring back any one of your creatures. Outstanding. So anyway, now we're on to the 2 cost. Castigate. Castigate says target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-land card from it and exile that card. Now, I'm kind of up in the air about the exile cards. Here's why, because there's a lot of cards that have graveyard effects. So, I'm playing Castigate, but I'm playing Castigate with the idea in mind that it's for something that I don't need in the graveyard, like anything that's not a creature, or it's just to slow down your opponent type thing. Gives you the opportunity to look at their hand, see what's going on. For 2 mana, you can't really beat that. Mourning Thrull, flying lifelink, 1/1 for 2 mana. Just does not make the cut. Onyx Mage. Good way to kill creatures, but I just find him underwhelming. Orahova Guildmage? Orahova Guildmage, however you want to pronounce it. 3 mana, they're 2 and a white. Target player gains 1 life, 2 and a black, each player loses 1 life. 2/2 for 2 mana. I try to keep him in here. I don't know if he's going to make the final cut, but we're going to try and keep him in here for now. I like him because he's a 2/2 for 2 mana that has an ability. It's not a great ability, but it's not a bad ability. You know, I just think of like, okay, I'll drop him turn 2 and turn 3, put Edge of Divinity on him. It's like, that's perfectly fine by me. He's something to sacrifice later if you just don't want him, but anyway, Zealous Persecution. If you're not playing this in this deck, you should just stop playing Magic. This card is outstanding. Until end of turn, creatures you control get +1/+1, and creatures your opponents control get -1/-1. So when you have a 2/2 go up against his 4/4, they now trade, rather than, you know, yours just dying. There's a ton of combat tricks with Zealous Persecution. It is probably one of the best combat trick cards, and used properly will win you game after game after game. Midnight Haunting, for me, does not make the cut. If you look at the deck curve right now, after we took out the 4 additional 2 cost, it's just like, woo, it's got a nice little pyramid shape. And, you know, that's what you want in a deck. It's just there are way too many 3 cost in this deck. Way too many. So, I'm kind of... This is the part that gets tricky, the 3 cost cards, because Pillar of the Sleepless is awesome, because it says, enchanted creature can't attack or block, and at the beginning of your upkeep you lose 1 life. Or that player loses 1 life. The creature has that ability. He also has like a nipple ring on, but anyway. I'm distracted. It's a good card. It's a great way to lock down creatures. And, you know, it keeps them there so that when you launch something like Zealous Persecution or Day of Judgment, that they end up in your opponent's graveyard. However, on the other side, it's not the best removal there is, because it can be removed. And it's really not a whole lot of damage, so it kind of like stalls them. Restless Apparition is amazing. This is an outstanding card. 3 mana, gets +3/+3 until end of turn, and if it dies, it comes back as a 1/1. For 3 mana, you get 2 creatures, and it has the ability to, the Shade ability, ×3. It just, not ×3, but it has to be activated 3 times. So I keep them in there, especially because, you get cards like Edge of Divinity or anything that you put on it, and it's going to be amazing. Still Moon Cavalier. Proc white, proc black is enough of a reason to play a 3 mana cost card alone. Not to mention you can pay black or white and it gains flying. You can pay black or white and it gains first strike. Or you can pay double black or double white, or black and white, or white and black, and it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. And then you give it first strike and it kills very big creatures. Tainted Sigil, I am not playing. It's just one of those cards that just seems like a clear cutout to me. And I remove 1 Unmake, and I do that because we have 3 Zealous Persecutions to deal with low creatures. We have 3 Unmakes, 2 Nighthawks, and a Vindicate to deal with any creature that we don't want to see on the floor. So I feel like 3 is probably more than enough. If we have room, we'll add some later, but for now, that's where we're at. Nighthawk, Flying, Death Touch, Lifelink, 3 mana, 2/3, outstanding. Vindicate, destroy target permanent. This is a good way to deal with your enchantments and stuff that you don't want to have just a specific card that says destroy an enchantment or artifact in there. So that's my 3 cost. I think that's a lot steadier, a lot more, reliable type curve for now. Anyway, let's talk about Bloodhunter Bats. Enters the battlefield, target player loses 2 life, you gain 2 life. This is just a one-time thing compared to the Falkenrath Noble. That is every time a creature dies. So if he dies and trades with the creature, it's already the same thing as the Bloodhunter Bat. If you Damnation with the Falkenrath Noble, or 2 Falkenrath Nobles out, you probably just won the game. Let's look at Damnation. Destroy all creatures, they can't be regenerated. Wrath of God, black. Awesome. Ghost Council. Enters the battlefield, target opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. Sack a creature, exile Ghost Council, and then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So you go, I'm going to sack my 1/1. Falkenrath Noble activates. I gain a life, you lose a life. Ghost Council leaves play. Ghost Council returns to play. You lose a life, I gain a life. That's 2 life for trading your 1/1. It's a 4-point life swing. And if they targeted your Ghost Council with like a removal spell, then you just negated their removal spell, and they lost 2 life and you gain 2 life. It's awesome. And then you get your token back too, so it's not like you even traded a card for that. Amazing. Gravedigger. There are better cards in the deck. I do enjoy Gravedigger in this type of deck because obviously you're okay with your creatures dying and you're okay with bringing them back, but I just don't feel like Gravedigger is the right card. Guardian Seraph is good against aggressive decks, but you don't have a problem with aggressive deck because you play Zealous Persecution. So I don't see any point in playing Guardian Seraph. If it says a source you control, a source an opponent controls would deal damage to you, prevent one of that damage. Blah, 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 blah. Apparently I cannot talk tonight. Keening Banshee, flying. When Keening Banshee enters the battlefield, target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. It's basically a 4 mana cost kill card. I like it. I like it a lot. Voracious Hatchling. Outstanding card. Whenever you play a black or white spell, you remove a +1/+1 counter from it. He enters the battlefield with 4 counters on him, and he has lifelink. So you play him turn 4, and then turn 5 you go unmake your creature, or vindicate, or the 3/3, or the 2/2 that gets +3/+3, and then you go, what is it, Edge of Divinity. Edge of Divinity on him. And it just, he's a 9/9 on turn 5. A 9/9. And that's assuming you didn't draw a land. You know, you could have dropped Ghost Council and put the Edge of Divinity on him. Or you could drop 2. I mean, there's just so many things you can drop with him. So both of these guys definitely have to stay in. Angel of Flight Alabaster. At the beginning of your upkeep, return target spirit card from your graveyard to your hand. You don't have enough spirits for this to actually matter. Just that simple. Blood Gift Demon. At the beginning of your upkeep, target player draws a card and loses 1 life. I like Blood Gift Demon a lot, and I played him up until the last 2 cards that I had to unlock. Here's the reason I don't play Blood Gift Demon. He's just more than what the deck needs. Like, ideally, you know, I could play 1. You know, I could manage to fit 1 into the deck. It's just, I looked at it and went, well, if I'm only playing 1, it doesn't really make it worth it now, does it? No, it really doesn't. You don't have a problem with card advantage. You've got so many cards that just trade with your opponents or do better than your opponents. So I just don't see a need for that. Now, this card is a card for when you get behind, it can get you ahead. But I can tell you the number of times I've been behind with this deck have been 0. Except for when I can't get up to the 5 mana, and then it doesn't matter anyway. Deathbringer Liege. Other white creatures get +1/+1, other black get +1/+1. Whenever you cast a white spell, you may tap target creature. Whenever you cast a black spell, you may destroy target tapped creature. Destroy target creature if it's tapped. If it said destroy target tapped creature, you couldn't target a non-white creature. Because, yeah. Because that ability has to go on the stack first, and then the white one goes on. So that the creature taps, and then the stack, you know, the stack activates, the creature taps, then the black ability goes off. But anyway, Divinity of Pride. Flying, lifelink, +4/+4 as long as you have 25 or more life. That is not difficult in this deck. That thing is scary looking, too. It's like one of the angels from Ava. Or, like, holding, like, the Morgul blade from Lord of the Rings. Yeah. Yep. Can't tell I'm a nerd, can we? Anyway, I'm Nicholas the Fallen. He's cool. If you were playing another fetch land, I'd say definitely, because then he would be decent. But he didn't see play when you could play him with 9 or with 12 fetch lands. I don't see the point in playing him in a deck like this, especially as a 1-of, when you can only play 4. Shepherd of the Lost is really powerful. It's a good card when you unlock it early. That should be in the deck for a while. But after that, Flying for Strike Vigilance for 5 mana just does not cut it. Soul Feast, 5 mana, target player loses 4 life, you gain 4 life. It's an 8-point life swing, but it's very expensive. Necromancer's Covenant. I actually play because I do like this a lot, because you have a lot of ways to deal with creatures, and as a 1-of, this is your win condition at the end of the game. You know, you Damnation to stay in the game, and then you go Necromancer's Covenant the next turn and win. So I feel like this has a lot of opportunities for you to just come from behind and be like, yeah, hey guys, I win the game. Thank you. Angel of Despair. Enters the battlefield, destroy target permanent. Definitely worth keeping. It's got a high mana cost, but we really don't have that much that's that high. So let me explain what's going on here. The Debtor's Kneel. At the beginning of your upkeep, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It's very, very expensive. 7 mana. So there's really no point in playing 2 of them, because you don't want your curve to be that high. Because you should win well before that. And it's an awesome card. It's game changing. But it's only 1 creature per turn, whereas Necromancer's Covenant is like a ton. If you play these 2 together, you've just eliminated half the creatures you can target. And with Unmake and Castigate and everything else that you're playing, there hopefully shouldn't be that many big creatures in the graveyard. I mean, ideally, there should not be that many big creatures in the graveyard. So that's why I'm not playing Debtor's Kneel. I know that a lot of people probably will play Debtor's Kneel, and if you're going to play Debtor's Kneel, I would suggest not playing as many Unmakes, maybe. It's just the whole removal aspect from it. Also, I should mention this, Unmake does not trigger Falkenrath Noble's ability. So that's also a problem. Also from that, we have Vishkal, Blood Arbiter. He's really cool. I like him a lot, but I feel like the removal that you get from the Angel is better than him. But he's really cool if you're really just trying to play a lifelink deck and play like a sack creature deck. He's good. You got sack creature, put X +1/+1 counters on him, where X is that creature's power. Remove all +1/+1 counters from him. Target creature gets -1/-1 till end of turn for each +1/+1 counter removed this way. So it's a way to deal with creatures. But you also have to sack creatures, and this is just bam, destroy target permanent. Then this is only creatures. So I feel like out of the two, the Angel's better. Sanguine Predator. Blah, blah, blah. Sack a creature. Destroy each creature with the same converted mana cost as the sacrificed creature. I find that's going to hurt you a lot more because you have a lot of 3 and 4 cost creatures. And if you have to sacrifice one of those, it's not going to be good. Not to mention, he cost 8 mana. And then Blazing Archon. Creatures can't attack you for 9 mana. That's just way too high. Anyway, we got one card to get rid of. What are we going to get rid of? Guys, what should we get rid of? What should we get rid of? I think it's probably going to be one of those guys. Maybe? No, I don't want to play just one. That'd be weird. I think I may have gone down to 2 Falkenraths, but that's not a good idea either. Now that the Ghost Council's unlocked. I do like Necromancer's Covenant. I think the worst card in the deck is probably these guys, because we have a lot to do turn 1 or turn 2. So I think just playing a one of him might be okay. Now, I'm not a fan of one-ofs, and that's my problem, is because I look at it and go, the chances of me drawing him are slim to none, but I don't really want to draw him, so I think he's the card that I'm going to take out. Now, if you really want to, you can add in the other removal for the other one. I just like to have the creature out there, because he is a 2/2 for 2 mana. He's not bad. But you can run the other Make. You can run bigger cost cards, whatever you really want to run. I think this is the open spot. I'm going to choose to run the 2/2 because I like to have something out earlier. I like the presence there. But, this deck is definitely centered around its mid-game and centered around winning around its mid-game. Its mid-game is very powerful. So, that's Grim Procession. Let me know what you guys think. Also, there's a new intro on this video. Let me know what you think about that one. We've changed it up a little bit from the last time you saw it if you watched the other Grim Procession video. It's a little bit cooler. Let me know what you think. It's basically the same thing, except the music's extended longer. So, alright guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, could you leave a like or comment, subscribe, let me know down below, and I'll see you guys later.